these latest developments on the Boston bombings is Washington State Congressman Adam Smith. Washington Congressman Adam Smith, the ranking member of the House Armed Services Committee. Congressman, thanks very much for being with us. So now we know that this investigation has led to some friends of Djokhars who, at least investigators believe, lied about getting rid of some potential evidence, the laptop and perhaps some other evidence that was in the room. What is your takeaway on how the FBI and the Boston authorities are handling all of this? Because there has been some criticism of lack of communication prior to the bombing.
Well, I think they're handling it very, very well now. I think we need to thoroughly investigate what led up to this, because obviously we've learned that there were tips from Russia. There was information that both the FBI and Homeland Security had about these suspects, and it seems like there was, in some instances, not as much coordination as we would have liked, and we need to go back in and figure out exactly what happened and learn and do better next time. But I think this whole thing points up the challenge. I mean, this is what has happened with the al-Qaeda message. It's metastasized, and you have these sort of self-starters to some degree who link up with others, and that's the threat we face. And I will say that the Department of Homeland Security and the FBI has stopped, gosh, dozens of these plots in the last 10 years, coming from a variety of different places. So they've done a good job. As I always say, the problem is we have to be right every single time. The terrorists only have to be right once. And it's an enormous challenge, but one we need to continue to get better at meeting.
And given this superheated atmosphere, is it possible to have a rational conversation about Guantanamo? I know you said yesterday after the president's comments, you put out a statement saying that we've got to figure out what to do. We can't just leave these prisoners there, many not charged, most of them not charged, indefinitely. But what should the administration do? Should the Secretary of Defense grant a waiver and take the risk of sending them back to Yemen, even if they will then have to take the blame if somebody does something?
Well, the number one biggest thing we need to do is close Guantanamo. I mean, you can have a separate discussion about about who needs to be held, but where they need to be held, I think right up front, Guantanamo Bay should not be open. I mean, 2006 and 2007, George W. Bush, Secretary of Defense Bob Gates, John McCain all said Guantanamo needs to be closed. It was built as a temporary facility. It was built in large part to try to avoid U.S. law. It is an international eyesore. It is completely unsustainable, and it's very simple to shut it down. We can house. There's 166 people there. They can easily.
Congress passed laws that said you can't bring them to the states to be tried or incarcerated.
Yeah. No, I'm sorry. From a policy standpoint, the logical thing to do, there's a clear option. But yes, you're right. Congress, led primarily by the Republicans, has blocked the president's ability to do that. And I've advocated for, how many ever years it's been going on to remove that block. We have another opportunity to do that this year in the National Defense Authorizing Act, and I think we have to. We move the block to the president transferring people out of Guantanamo. Now, we can have a separate debate about, who needs to be held. But to maintain this temporary facility that is falling apart, that is the most expensive prison in the world, it doesn't make any sense. And it's being done largely, for political reasons. The Republicans chose to oppose President Obama's desire to close this. Well, these people, many of them certainly need to be held, but there is no reason they can't be held in the United States. There's no reason we can't do military commissions if that's what people decide to do here. Guantanamo is an international eyesore that needs to be shut down as soon as we possibly can.
Well, we'll have to leave it there. To be continued. Thank you very much, Congressman, and we'll be right back.